Hi there, welcome back to another week and another video. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Alexi and I like to teach you how to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. Today I'm going to be showing you my current workout routine. Last time I did this type of video, it seemed to be what you wanted to see. So I'm going to show you what I'm currently doing. I'm currently focusing on my glutes. I've programmed my own glutes program for 6 weeks, and this is going to be right before I transition into map symmetry, which I am so stinking excited for, and that will be the program that I finish the rest of the year with. I am training my glutes and I have a focus on my glutes right now because if you did not know, I injured my upper body a little bit and I was basically unable to move, breathe. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, and I really couldn't train my upper body at all. So I took a real big break from my upper body completely because I really could not do anything with it. Now I've been able to slowly incorporate upper body back into my routine. So I've just been turning the dial up and I just do whatever feels good on the day. I have my go-to moves. I know what has been good for me in this time period of trying to heal and not be so tight. I think I was overtraining. Surprise, surprise. I'm feeling a lot better. So I decided to focus on my glutes because my glutes are something that I have not focused on in a very long time. It's not something that I've isolated and have made my sole purpose in my training to grow and develop. I've been working a lot on my upper body. I would say over the last year or so, that was something that I really wanted to develop. So now it's time for the legs to have some love. My goal is also to grow my glutes as much as possible without the hamstring and the quad. Getting a little bit of hamstring and quad is nice. I'm not opposed to that, but they don't tend to be muscle groups that I struggle to grow. My glutes are definitely a lot more challenging. So I also was going into this with the mentality of trying to isolate just my glutes a little bit more. So before we jump into the videos, before I actually show you what I'm doing, I just want to let you know kind of what the week looks like. I did a 6-week program, am doing a 6-week program, and I split it up into 3 weeks and 3 weeks. I typically like to train the same workouts for anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks, and then I switch it up. I decided to do 3 weeks and 3 weeks because I wanted a little bit of variety, but I kept a lot of the core staple moves. So a lot of this kind of translates again into my second, third week bout, but it's just somewhere else in the workout. So still doing a lot of the same moves, just kind of restructuring them and how they look in the workout. I have 3 foundational glute days that I make sure I get in every week, and then maybe I work out 1 or 2 other days during the week, but they're like really low-key at home, body weight, really light dumbbell type moves. I'm working out more times during the week now, but for a lower intensity or a shorter duration, and I've really been loving it. So without getting too rambly, let's jump into the video. So in my glute training, I'm making sure that I have 4 glute moves every single day. I'm training glutes. I'm training glutes 3 times a week. So I am doing 12 glute movements or different glute movements throughout the entire week. So within each workout, I am always making sure that I have some sort of bridge. So in the first 3 weeks, I was doing glute bridge 2 times a week. Again, choosing the appropriate intensity so that I don't feel sore going into the next glute bridge. So some form of bridge or hinge. The hinges I have to be more careful with because they make me feel a lot more sore, and the reason is just because I have those muscles in the stretched position for a longer period of time, so the glute bridge is easier to do more frequently throughout the week. So always a glute bridge, some sort of hinge. I'm always doing some sort of vertical movement, so some lunge variation. I'm not squatting right now. I know for myself squatting is going to make me more sore than some of the lunge variations, and also when I squat, I just notice my quads take over more. I'm more quad dominant, so I know that if I do a different lunge variation, I have more of an opportunity to really focus and isolate my glutes just personally for me. So no squatting for me right now. I'm doing some sort of lunge variation, and then I'm also doing some form of abduction movement or stepping out to the side, a cable abduction, and then I usually will add some form of kick back, so like a hyperextension, which you're seeing, or like a cable kick back. Those are the 4 things that I've been doing. Again, the hinge and the bridge sometimes are interchangeably used, but I always make sure that I have some form of glute bridge in my training. So to warm up, I started with a hyperextension and then I did the lateral band walk. So I got my kick back or hyperextension and my lateral work in at the beginning of this workout. And I did it as an opportunity for me to really turn the glutes on, because again, when I go into certain leg movements, it's easier for me to connect with the hamstrings. It's easier for me to connect with the quads. So sometimes they will become the active muscle group working. So doing a little warm-up set like this sometimes helps me so that I can really isolate my glutes. I just have to be careful to not fatigue them too much, which doesn't tend to happen because it's just body weight and band work, but it could potentially. So I'm just always mindful. I'm priming my glutes. I'm getting my glutes ready to go so that I can focus on them in my set, but I'm not making them tired. I don't want them quite tired. Sometimes I'll do this at the end of the workout. You could do this at the end of the workout if you wanted to as like a little finisher. So after I did that, I'm going into my glute bridge. I'm not a huge glute bridge person. To be quite honest, it is my least favorite compound movement. I just don't think it is as challenging as a lot of the other compound movements. I don't think it's as technical, and to me that just makes the movement slightly less appealing. I would much rather deadlift. I would much rather do an RDL. I would much rather do a good morning. I would much rather squat. It's not my favorite compound movement, so it's not something that I've ever really regularly done in my training, but since doing it more regularly and since actually programming it out and progressively overloading it, I'm definitely seeing the benefit. So it's making me like it a little bit more because I like the outcome. I just get bored in it, to be quite honest. Here I was working on a little bit more strength because in the past when I was doing my glute bridge, I was working in higher rep ranges. I was working in like 15 to 20, so I wasn't about to go into that. I want to do something different. Another thing I haven't done in a while since like almost my beginning days is a pyramid set. So I was going 8, 10, 12, 10, 8, and the weight would correspond the same way. My battery is gonna die. You've got to be kidding me. Why does this always happen? It was full. It was full. What was I saying? I was pyramiding. So I do 8 reps at a weight, 10 reps at a weight, 12 reps at a weight, and then when I go back down, I use the same weight that I did in the beginning. So I don't remember the weights that I did here, but I did it as a pyramid set. I worked my way up to that heavy weight, and then I worked my way back down the same way I worked my way up, just to give me an opportunity to go a little bit heavier than what I typically would for 15 to 20. But I'm not trying to go too heavy because I have found with some of my tightness here, leaning on the bench or straining too much would sometimes make my upper body feel tight because I'm like, ugh. I also was not trying to go super heavy on the glute bridge here for that purpose. All right, I gotta change my battery. One day I'll get good at making sure that my battery won't die. Okay, so I'm moving on next. So I got my kickback and my hyperextension. I got my lateral or my abduction with my lateral band walk. I got my bridge with my glute bridge, and here I don't have a hinge, and that's okay. Like I said, that one is the one that I use most sparingly because any hinge movement always makes me feel more sore. So in this programming, I only had one hinge in the middle of the week. So I went glute bridge, hinge, glute bridge. That way I'm not super sore. The goal is to not be super sore, especially if I'm training more frequently. I need to train at an intensity that allows me to recover so that I can train again. I want frequency. I want to hit the muscle more. But if I'm just completely taxing myself every time and not giving myself an ability to recover, then it's just gonna be counterproductive. It's all about finding what works for you with how much time and maybe how many days a week you can get in the gym. My sweet spot is like 3 to 4 times now. I used to be a 6-time-a-weeker. Anyways, before I get rambly, next I did a reverse elevated lunge. I would highly recommend this movement if you've never done it before. If you've never done a reverse lunge, do a reverse lunge first, but this is a great way to challenge yourself because now you have a larger range of motion to travel down to. So if you notice, every single time my knee hits the floor, every single time. Maybe I miss one or two, but the purpose is to have your knee hit the floor every time. If you don't hit the floor, there is absolutely no point with you standing on that plate because you're trying to create that deficit. You're trying to go for a larger range of motion. So if you don't hit the floor, you're not doing it. So there's no point in being on the plate. If that happens, I would just recommend finding a smaller plate that allows you to hit the floor every time. And then that's a great way to challenge yourself, is just giving yourself a slightly higher elevated place to reverse lunge back. I added dumbbells. My goal is to be slow and controlled. And if you notice, I'm not banging my knee off the ground. One, that hurts. I don't want to do that. And two, my goal is to have tension the entire time. If I hit that knee on the floor, if I drop that knee on the floor, I now have lost tension. And that is definitely not something we're doing up in here. We got to keep constant tension, more control, more engagement. Challenge yourself that way before you just pick up heavier weights or do more repetitions. There's way more value in performing your movements that way, and I will argue quality over quantity every damn day. Basically it for the lower body. Again, this is just one day, so this at the time was my first workout of the week, and this is only what it looks like for 3 weeks. So again, things are always changing. I'm showing you what my workout looks like, but everything is planned and purposeful, but it is changing, it is evolving based off of also what I feel, what's going on in my life, and what my goals are. But these are all great moves, so if you're looking to grow your glutes, I would recommend just doing this workout each week and then progressively overloading on this workout each week, and you will definitely see benefits in your glutes, especially if these are new movements to you or movements that you've never tried. So on this day, I didn't have a crazy amount of time and my upper body was still actually feeling it a little bit. I decided to do a resistance band chin up, and I did resistance band because obviously that's gonna make it a little bit easier. I didn't want it to feel super intense, and I feel really good in this stretched position. So I thought it would also be a good opportunity for me to just kind of hang out at the bottom and feel that stretch. And here I was like, I'm just gonna do as many reps as I can and not feel good, and I'm gonna leave 1 to 2 reps in the tank. I don't want to be straining. I should not be straining. That's not the point that I want to push my body to, because I am still trying to heal and recover. So again, just really focusing on quality over quantity here. I could do a lot more reps, yes, but they would not look the way that they look here. So I would rather do a lesser amount of reps with a greater range of motion, greater form, etc. And then I just decided to do a dumbbell rotational press. This is one of my favorite shoulder presses now. This is something I learned from Mind Pump. I think this was in the Performance, maybe? It's in one of their programs. I can't remember which one it is. I really like this move because it adds that rotational aspect to it, so I'm not just like in a fixed state, and that just really helps me for the health of my shoulder and my shoulder joint and being mobile instead of just only being able to work in like a certain plane of motion. And I just really like it. It feels really good. When I get to the top, I can pause at the bottom comfortably as well if I need a second to relax. And yeah, that is pretty much it. That is my workout. That's kind of how I've been approaching what I'm doing right now and my upper body. And I think the glutes are, I think something is happening. They're looking a little bit different. I've got 1 more week in this training, so I am technically week 5 right now. This is a slightly older workout. This is from the first 3 weeks. So I've got about 1 more week to go next week, and then I start map symmetry. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you like this kind of content. If you want to see more content, you want to know more about my workouts. Do you want me to explain it more in depth? Is this good? What do you think? Smash the thumbs up button if you like these types of videos and you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Bye.